talk about the WNBA and the league's demise now that Caitlin Clark is no longer going to play this season. The WNBA and the Indiana Fever, Stephanie White, Amber Cox, all the way up and including, let's just keep it real, Kathy Engelbert, Adam Silver, the National Basketball Association, everybody that participated in the farce.
Caitlin Clark's season is officially over, and the WNBA has no one to blame but itself. What started as a quad strain in May turned into recurring groin problems through June and July, before ending with a bone bruise in August. Bit by bit, her body gave out. Losing Clark isn't just an injury to one player, it's a disaster for the entire league, driven by poor officiating, mismanagement, and the constant physical targeting of its biggest star.
Out for the remainder of the 2025 season, something we all think we knew was coming after what Stephanie White said earlier today. We couldn't be too sure until we see it for ourselves. And with this announcement from the GOAT's mouth herself, Caitlin Clark won't be returning this season, nor if the Indiana Fever make the play.
Fans are furious, demanding answers, refunds, and even threatening boycotts. Yet the league has mostly stayed silent. How did the face of women's basketball break down after just 13 games? And what has Commissioner Kathy Engelbert really said? Many argue, not nearly enough. Time and again, referees looked straight ahead while Clark was shoved into screens, pulled by her jersey, or knocked off balance, only to act as if nothing happened. That silence and inaction are what anger fans the most.
It all started last year, in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up, laughing about it, laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail for what's going on.
Everyone watching saw it in real time. Possession after possession. Clark being hammered off curls, shoved into help defense, or even double-teamed before the ball ever touched her hands. The officials had endless chances to step in. Instead, they swallowed their whistles. And soon, it was no longer isolated incidents. It became a pattern, one serious enough to be written up by the Washington Post.
WNBA and all the people that follow the WNBA and try to promote the WNBA don't understand that Caitlin Clark's game resonates with us. I say this every day, and every day I got to deal with somebody else dumb in the media. Caitlin Clark's game resonates because she's got flair, she's got flash, she's got style. I said this before, and I'll say this again. We saw Sue Bird's game. We saw Diana Taurasi's game. Kim Mulkey was Sue Bird before Sue Bird became Sue Bird. We've seen it.
This wasn't one rogue team being overly physical. It was the entire league, taking liberties with a very player who had instantly become the face of the sport. And that's the heart of this issue. The league's biggest draw, the player carrying not only her own team, but also half the WNBA's television spike, was left unprotected.
Last year, I noticed how much it was just Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was taking all the hits. Caitlin Clark was taking all the abuse. But this year they've added Sophie Cunningham. She gets more flagrant fouls on her than anybody in the league besides Caitlin Clark. And Aaliyah Boston, she's been taking hits as well. But the worst thing is the consistency. So they don't call flagrant fouls, or most of the time, Caitlin Clark can be held for an entire game at a time. They don't call fouls. They don't call common fouls.
Think about that. One athlete packing arenas in Dallas, Las Vegas, New York, and Chicago should have been treated like the investment she clearly was. Instead, while TV networks signed record broadcasting checks, referees refused to give her even the most basic calls that other stars in other leagues receive automatically. What fans got instead were bodies slamming into her off-ball, constant hand-checking that killed her cuts, and physical contact that would have been a foul for any other player on the court.
Cover the NBA. These people that play in the NBA. These people that cover the NBA. There, I said these people, all of you. Black, white, green, purple. Why don't you understand a very simple thing? Her game is dynamic. Like Diana Taurasi was like a jackass to Caitlin Clark. Why? Her game is what people are drawn to. And then you go to the personality. Her game is different than any WNBA woman ever. And she wins, and she shoots from deep. It's no different than Steph Curry. How many times we got...
That wasn't just frustrating to watch. It was dangerous. Those constant cheap shots don't simply leave a player sore. After games, they accumulate, grinding down strained muscles until they inevitably snap. Clark's quad that locked up in May and her groin that earned through June weren't mysterious flukes. They were textbook results of repeated hits, awkward pivots forced by need space, and unprotected landings. These are the exact types of stresses that lead to chronic injuries that never fully heal without extended rest. Yet, she kept playing through all of it. Not because she was ready, but because the alternative meant empty arenas where fans had already bought tickets to see her. That's why the word hypocrisy keeps getting thrown around.
It's a gut punch that basically encompasses an entire season of them. The Fever have lost so many players to injury, but obviously none bigger than Clark. And there was such a wait for this second season after her magnificent rookie season. And then, the anticipation of her possibly coming back, only for that not to happen, takes a lot of air out of the room, obviously takes a lot of energy out of the fans, and is a devastating blow for not just the Fever and the
WNBA boasted about record-breaking ticket sales, booming merchandise numbers, and sponsorship deals tied directly to Clark's name. But when it came time to do the simplest job, protect the very player responsible for that growth, they acted like she was just another rookie. She wasn't.
Clark, a two-time All-Star and the 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year, has been sidelined suffering a right groin injury during the Fever's 87-77 win over the Connecticut Sun on July 15th. If you guys remember that game, Caitlin Clark put the team on her back in the winding minutes to give the Indiana Fever that lead. Clark also suffered a bone bruise at a later date during her recovery process.
Allowing her to get battered night after night didn't just compromise individual games. It put the stability of the entire season in jeopardy. So, here's the question. What happens when your golden goose stops playing? What happens when the league refuses to call fouls, and the end result is your biggest star limping instead of sprinting? Now we know.
Has worked so hard throughout this time, doing everything possible to recover and return to the court, but ultimately, time is not on our side, said Indiana Fever COO and GM Amber Cox. While we will continue working with Caitlin and provide her with every resource we have available, there is not enough time left in our season for her to safely return, and her long-term health and well-being remains our top priority. We are looking forward to having her back at full strength to start the 2026 season. Clark appeared in 13 games during the regular season, averaging 16.5 points, 8.8 assists, and 5 rebounds per game, while helping lead the team to the 2025 WNBA Commissioner's Cup title.
The negligence of the officials didn't just skew a single box score. It set the stage for Clark's season-ending collapse. And the fallout didn't stay confined to the court. It spread outward like wildfire.
This is what Caitlin wrote. I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season. I spent hours in the gym every day with the singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling. I want to thank everyone who had my back through all the uncertainty. This has been incredibly frustrating, but even in the bad, there is good. The way fans continue to show up for me and the Fever brought me so much joy and important perspective. I'm so proud of how this team has only gotten stronger through the adversity this year. Now it's time to close out the season and claim our spot.
Was Clark's sophomore season doomed from the very start? Looking back, it feels that way. At training camp in May, reports already flagged tightness in her quad, something most athletes would sit out to prevent further damage. Instead, she was rolled out as the centerpiece of every practice, every public event, and every marketing push. Less than 2 months later, that injury escalated into a groin issue. By July, it became a full tear in her right side. Then came the announcement no one wanted to hear. Clark's season was over.